Good evening and welcome, Free Enterprise fans. My name is Dathis. I'm going to be your tech support tonight, your restreamer, and I'm going to be throwing it right over to Maggie the Cat and Snapey, who are your casters for tonight. So throw it right on over to them so they can start.
Good evening, everybody. I am Smafty. I am pleased to be here with Maggie the Cat. It's been a while since we've been on comms together, so very, very excited for tonight. Hope you're all ready for tonight's Free Enterprise action, our first seed since our 2-year anniversary. Very, very excited for kind of an interesting flag layout, isn't it, Maggie?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for this as well, Smithy. I think it's been a hot minute since either of us have had a chance to be in the commentators booth. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting flag set. For those of you who have not had a chance to look at it, this is kind of a souped-up giant percent. So our runners are going to be looking for the darkness crystal so they can complete the giant. But on top of that, they also have to find Fusoya, and they have to defeat the CPU in order to complete the game.
Yeah, sort of a 75% run of Final Fantasy IV. We need to get the party to roughly where it was about when you beat the giant in the storyline. CPU's down, Fusoya's in the party for now at least, and the giant complete. So give some interesting stuff in here tonight. Treasures are going to be looking very valuable tonight, while shops maybe a little bit less so. We've got that Wildish flag on, which means all of the strongest gear is available in treasure chests tonight. It is a little weighted so that the more difficult to reach dungeons are going to have higher value treasures than the earlier ones. And we've got that pro shop randomization, which means a lot of the gear that we are used to seeing in previous iterations of Free Enterprise is not going to be as readily available from shops.
Yeah, definitely. So they're probably going to be prioritizing those chest checks, especially because we're going to be starting with a Cecil. So it is a forced Cecil, Dark Knight Cecil start. Now they're also starting with a kit, I believe. It's called the Spitball Kit. We weren't entirely sure what that includes, so we're going to find out in just a few moments here when we kick off. But that's definitely going to help with that Dark Knight Cecil start, especially depending on who their partner is.
Yeah, and we do have the relaxed party member locations on, which means that your very strong party members, your edges, and your Fusoyas aren't necessarily hidden behind a single key item. So we could see a very strong party member right from the get-go here.
And we are about to get started. We see Dark Knight Cecil coming out the gate and is joined by an old man, Tella.
Well, not the old man we were looking for, but Tella, not exactly the worst character to get right from the get-go. Has two very, very important white magic spells that can be really useful early on. That is Exit, which can save a lot of time for some early dungeons like Antlion, which are a pain to get out of naturally. You also have that Blink spell, which can be a lifesaver against bosses that only do physical attacks. Plus, this is kind of incentivizing ordeals a good bit here.
Yeah, and they also started with a magma key, so that gives them instant access to the underground and a lot more chest checks if they wanted to do something like Dwarf Castle. Normally that is something that is overlooked, but with that Tella who has that exit, they could get some some pretty good loot out of some of those underground chests right away. And it looks like maybe Dragus is going to make that play right out of the gate here.
Yeah, Dragus immediately heading to the underworld here, going to be looking for those high-value chests here. Poydrak, in the meantime, looks like he's going into Eblin Castle and might be looking to save scum a few items up in Eblin Castle. Very interesting play here. I definitely like how much route divergence we're getting right from the word go here.
Yeah, and Computer making the play into the watery pass here. This is another area that we don't see very often. A lot of chests in here. Got a dragon whip out of that chest. And again, with Tella with that exit, he can get some of these chests and get out of here really, really quickly. So I like this divergence, like you just said, Smithy. This is a lot of fun to see all these different plays that everybody's making right away.
Yeah, one of the more interesting finds there, Computer managed to find the Black Sword, Deathbringer, if you are more familiar with recent translations of Final Fantasy IV, the strongest sword that Dark Knight Cecil can equip. So if he puts off ordeals a bit, Dark Knight Cecil can contribute a little bit more than you're usually used to him seeing. Plus, it has a chance to proc that swoon effect or instant death. So it could be very, very useful depending on what bosses he comes up against.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Dragus is immediately making the play into the Feymarch, or the Land of the Summoned Monsters. Skipping the chests for now, probably a good idea, in case he runs into the Warriors chest. Does pick up a Zeus Gauntlet out of that one chest before the Warp Tile, and is going straight for the key item chest. We're about to see what that is here. Gets a White Lance. That's going to be really nice if we happen to find a cane early on here.
Yeah, it doesn't immediately pay off, but yeah, like you said, if Kane comes up, that is going to make him a powerhouse. Should be noted that with the flag sets we have on here, every possible location in Free Enterprise is available for key items. That means trap chests could have key items. They could be in their normal locations, summon boss locations, and on the moon as well. The only thing technically needed to finish this seed key item-wise is the Darkness Crystal. Of course, the CPU or Fusoyo could be hidden behind some of those other side quests. So it's going to be very interesting to see where that Darkness Crystal ends up.
Yeah, absolutely. This could be a real jetty seed, or it could take a long time to find all of the required items and locations that are going to be needed to unlock everything. Poydrak has found a number of really nice items here, looting Eblin Castle. I haven't seen if he has run into any of the trapped chests yet, but I've seen a couple of really nice items for Edge. A Murasame, saw a Protect Ring, a Glass Helm. Did just run into one of the trapped chests, so is now having to reset. He's got a save right outside, so it's going to go back in now that he knows where that chest is and pick up all of the other items besides that trapped chest.
Yeah, as far as equipment goes, Poydrak's going to be in a really good place from this early Eblin check. And we've got a dwarf job. Was a transportation engine safety engineer, I think?
System engineer or something like that, yeah.
So PK with the very early validation of his run. Excellent to see.
And PK, I think, missed the Deathbringer's sword that Computer picked up in the waterway, but I think just bought one from the weapon shop here in the Dwarf City here. So is also going to be boosting his Dark Knight Cecil up before making the Mount Ordeals play.
Yeah, it's one of those weapons you rarely get to put into practice because of how just how little time you often have with Dark Knight Cecil, but it can be really make the difference between just being dead weight on your team until you make him a paladin to actually having him able to contribute in some small ways. Like I said, especially if we can get some of those death procs on some of the enemies that aren't immune to them, can really boost the effectiveness of that Dark Knight.
I missed where Poydrak is, but I'm assuming that this is Baron in based on what our restreamer is saying, and that this is going to be an edge if Poydrak is able to get through the two fights here. Yeah, looks like that's where we are.
Just running into a lunar boss here for the second fight, but probably one of the nicest lunar bosses to see this early. Poydrak should be able to take care of this. Might be a little bit of a slog damage-wise, though.
Yeah, it would be real nice if they had somebody who could use a bow and arrow or a spear, some kind of attack that would hit flying enemies, but unfortunately we don't have a cane to utilize that white spear that we know is out there.
It does have that Stardust. That's going to take out about a quarter of Plague's health. Let's see how much he manages to get out of this Boreas here. Another 700, see about a little less than half of Plague's health done there. And yeah, just kind of out of tricks there, unfortunately. Just doesn't have the damage to go out. He only has about 6 life potions, so even if he wanted to do lives there, really, it wasn't going to have the damage to get through it, but definitely wants to do that. He does know where a Murasame is. He did have one in Eblin Castle, so Edge is going to be a huge pickup for Poydrak if he can get through that fight.
We had a Valvalis sighting in the waterfall. That's actually a really nice spot to find Valvalis, since we know that they will not have to fight her. She can be really nasty in certain locations.
Yeah, and speaking of nasty elemental fiends, there was Cagnazzo in Mist Cave. So that's two really problematic bosses just kind of taken out of the pool there. So big sigh of relief for our runners that find that out, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Dragus, meanwhile, is clearing out Antlion Cave. This was D-Lunars down at the bottom of Antlion Cave. So we're about to see what the key item here is. And that's a sand ruby. I don't think anybody has been to Kaipo yet, so we'll see if maybe our old man, Fusoya, is taking a nap.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprising at all to see Dragus just book it right over to Kaipo just to add a third member to the team here.
Although Computer might beat him, he just walked into Kaipo, even though he does not have the sand ruby yet. He might still peek who's in that bed. Yeah, that's where he's going right now.
Well, it's an old man, but not the right old man.
Yeah, that is a wrench-wielding Cid. Still going to be a nice addition to Dragus' party at this point. Nice to just kind of fill out your party slots.
Yeah, Cid is not a bad character to be getting this early in the game whatsoever. He comes at a very reasonable level, solid bulk in his huge HP total, and does decent damage with even with his initial equipment. Very good at being able to kind of sweep through the early overworld checks. So definitely not somebody I would be disappointed to see there.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody had found an elven bow. I think it was in the one of the chests in Mist Village as well. So if they find some decent arrows, that can also help. He kind of has some bad accuracy if you equip him with an axe, but that elven bow can help a lot with his accuracy issues as well. And you can back row glitch him with it.
Yeah, not to mention with the with this low number of members of your party right now, it's really no problem to get Cid set up in that center slot where he gets that accuracy bonus that can really help his damage. So yeah, a lot of ways you can make Cid a lot more useful this early.
Meanwhile, we see on Poidrak and soon PK 4787 screen, a Young is up on Mount Hobbs being guarded by Pale Dim. Pale Dim is not an overly difficult lunar boss, but for this party, even adding Young to this party, this is still a very underpowered party. So this is just kind of a slog for them. I see that Poidrak finally takes the Pale Dim out with a Stardust item.
Yeah, don't blame him for using that there whatsoever. Yang really does not have great damage output, and when you couple that with the fact that all of his attacks are going to be elemental based because of those claws, and Pale Dim resists all of your standard elements, Yang just is going to have a hard time contributing to the party damage, which is already pretty low. Drag is probably going to have a lot easier time with Pale Dim here because he does have that Cid in his party. But yeah, Yang isn't going to add too much this early.
Even PK is doing a little bit more damage because his Dark Knight Cecil has got that Deathbringer sword on, so he's doing, in the 150 damage range with Cecil. I don't think Poidrak had that, so I think he was really just struggling with base weapons for all of his characters.
Yeah, right you are. Take a picture, folks. This is a rare instance of Dark Knight Cecil being useful.
Absolutely.
And it looks like a lot of runners are sort of covering each other's tracks now. Sand Ruby grabbed by Computer. Poidrak heading down there to get it as well. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to our restreamer and our tracker here tonight. We've got Dathis running the restream and Gambit017 doing the tracking. Huge shout out to them. Thank you so much for volunteering and helping us out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Without our wonderful volunteers, we wouldn't be able to bring these community races to you every week. So, thank you so much to all of our volunteers who put in a lot of time and effort to bring these races to you. Especially Gambit. I just want to say, trackers are, don't always get a lot of love, and especially in this kind of race, there's a lot of checks to be made and a lot of things to keep track of. So thank you, Gambit, for keeping an eye out on all of these key item checks for us.
Ooh, Dragasnag's himself an elven bow there was on the back of Mount Hob, so that's definitely a good boost for Sid there. And heading immediately over to Fabul, going to do the Fabul defense check here. Don't think we have seen that from any of our runners just yet, so this will be a little bit new information.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that nobody has done Sheila 1 to do in conjunction with Fabul. I know that's fairly common to, try to hold off and do the pan Sheila 1 and 2 along with Fabul, especially if you get an early Magma Key. But on the other hand, if that pan is behind Fabul or Sheila 1, then you just kind of waste a bunch of time.
Yeah, it's one of those routing challenges where you want to try to get to Fabul as few times as possible. There can be up to 3 different visits to Fabul for 3 different key items, and anytime you can combine any of those checks into one is always a plus. So yeah, I am a little surprised that we don't see any of those combination Sheila 1 and Fabul defense checks here, but yeah, like you said, if anyone comes up the pan, that's going to pay off later.
And here we see Yang is attacking his own kingdom, so don't see that every day.
Well, Yang has to defend his kingdom from Yang. Time paradox.
It's the usurper Yang who is attacking Yang's kingdom tonight.
Yeah, the seed is just getting us hyped for the Fabul Gauntlet. Coming up later this year, later this month actually. We're in February now.
It is. That's very true. Yeah, in just a few weeks. We are going to be having our next big event, the Fabul Gauntlet. So for those of you who haven't signed up yet, come wander over to our Discord later tonight and get the details.
Yeah, very exciting. It's going to be Free Enterprise's first 1v1 event and really great showcase of our new objective system that went live with the newest Free Enterprise update. So definitely check that out.
And thank you, Davis, for posting the links there in Twitch chat for anyone who's interested.
And
I totally just missed that item. What was that item?
It was the pass. Unfortunately, entirely useless in this flag set.
Completely.
Unless anyone wants to make a hilarious check to Zeromus in Giant Percent. If it's nothing you have ever done in Free Enterprise, I won't spoil anything, but roll yourself up a Giant Percent seed, get yourself a pass, and go have a look. It's definitely worth it.
I apparently was a liar because apparently Dragus did do Sheila 1 and just got an Avenger from it.
Oh, well, there you go. If you ever needed more... Yeah, if you ever needed more incentive to do ordeals, there you go. Avenger is
kidding.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal weapon for Paladin Cecil. That's going to turn him into a damage powerhouse right from the get-go. Not only does the Avenger have a fantastic base attack damage, puts auto berserk on whoever is wielding it, which is going to increase the damage even further. And since the ATB system in Final Fantasy IV is kind of wonky, it ends up being an even further damage increase just from the fact that those commands are getting put in so quickly with Berserk. So really, really good weapon there.
Yeah, absolutely. It is widely considered to be Kane's best weapon. And probably the only reason that it's not Cecil's best weapon is because he can use the Crystal Sword.
Yeah, it's very difficult to trump the Crystal Sword here. Poitrak getting in a random encounter. Looks like he might be trying to set something up here.
He probably knows that Plague is the second boss, so he's setting up one of his characters to be dead going into that fight so that he can get the life glitch. Not life glitch, but, the life tactic off during the Plague fight is what I'm guessing.
That is an excellent point, yeah, and really heads-up strategy there for Poitrak to make this easier. Poitrak definitely knows with Edge on the line, getting through that Baron in duology of fights is going to be very, very big.
Speaking of glitches, besides the life glitch, we also have the warp glitch on. So if and when our runners get to the underground and start clearing out the checks there, and as long as they have their Tella still with them, they'll be able to warp back behind the throne room to easily get access to the key item that is normally in the sealed cave without having to unlock the sealed cave using the Luca key.
Yeah, right you are. Just even more incentive to do ordeals here so you can make sure you've got Tella with warp. Somebody having that warp spell active when you do that dwarf check to get 2 key items instead of 1 and bypass the terrible sealed cave altogether.
Yeah, there's no trap chests and nothing else in there that they're going to need to do. So absolutely having that access to that warp glitch and utilizing it is going to be pretty huge for anybody who can do it.
And here comes Sid arming himself with bow and arrows. Yeah, very respectable damage to Plague. About 7 or 8 shots should do it there. Even throwing a Boreas in there for good measure. So Plague should not be long for this world.
PK also in this fight. Looks like PK was able to get maybe it was a Star Veil or some kind of wall item up before Plague acted. This is a very slow spot, this second fight in Baron Inn. So was able to act before Plague got the count up and was able to reflect it back onto Plague.
Yeah, very, very cheeky strategy there because that means whoever's got that wall up is going to make sure that the count never hits them for the duration of the effect. And you can also, depending on how the timings work out, have Plague basically just count itself dead. Doesn't look like that's going to be what's going to happen here because every time he's counting himself, he's refreshing the count. But if you manage to kill off the person that has that wall off and another count comes out, it doesn't get reflected in the Plague. Plague can actually kill itself with its own count, which is pretty hysterical.
Yeah, that's a very good strategy and heads up play for PK, who I don't know if he probably didn't know. I don't know if he had been to this spot before, but didn't have the setup that Poydrak did to kill off one of his characters before going into the fight for the life setup here.
Yeah, and PK actually gets into the fight second, but finishes it before Poydrak does. So he is going to be our first runner with that all-important edge on his team. Oh my gosh, and an Excalibur for good measure.
Wow, so everything is just pointing everybody to go to Ordeals and turn Cecil into this paladin, which both Dragus and Computer now are in the process of. The first fight here is Rubicant. For anybody who still has a Boreas left, that is not at all a problem for them.
Yeah, and you might be thinking, well, the Excalibur, if you've already got the Avenger, what good is the Excalibur? Well, you can actually take advantage of that by going into a fight with, say, the Excalibur or a Crystal Sword equipped by Cecil, and then switch to the Avenger mid-fight. You keep the stat bonuses and the attack value of the Excalibur while getting the auto Berserk effect of the Avenger, especially early on when you don't have access to the Berserk spell or Bacchus Wines. This is a really good way to sort of double dip on Holy Swords with Cecil.
Yeah, absolutely. It's even nicer if you happen to have Crystal Sword. The Excalibur is going to absolutely be a nice to find and nice to set up for any team that has both that and the Avenger. Meanwhile, as Chad is pointing out, the second fight here on Ordeals, the back attacks fight is a French vanilla Pain Man.
Yeah, it suddenly makes those high HP value characters like Sid and Yang feel worthwhile here.
Yeah, fortunately, the no free bosses flag is off, so as long as they can survive 3 of those Dark Wave attacks, Pain Man just crumbles away and falls into the deep ravine.
And we're about to see what Ordeals rewards tonight. It's a Masamune. So
another great weapon for Edge. Wow.
Yeah, so we've already seen the Murasame in Evelyn Castle. When Poydrak finally does complete Man Ordeals, his Edge is going to be stacked.
Yeah, Dapis is just giving everybody all the items that they need for the characters that they have. So Dapis, of course, our restreamer, rolled this seed. So being very generous with the items tonight.
That just means Fusoya is going to be in some incredibly terrible place.
That is a really nice Cecil palette, Paladin Cecil palette. I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Oh yeah, that's the Bart's palette from Final Fantasy V. His knight sprite color. Yeah, that's one of the newer ones. I just got that one the other day. Yeah, and Scala told me that that Bart's was the inspiration for that. But yeah, definitely if you play this, well, you actually don't even have to turn it on now. It's on by default. But those alternate color palettes by Scala Kitty, lots of fun to look for them and basically collect them all, see what all the references are.
So it looks like PK is now also taking the hint and running up ordeals with his edge in tow. He's going to have no problems with the fights up here. Pordrack is still struggling a little bit with this plague. I think he maybe just had a misslip on his first run through this fight, but it looks like he's got a pretty okay setup now. His Cid has got plenty of arrows. He's got the counts pretty well under check here, so he should be okay, and then I'm sure he's going to be following everybody up the mountain as well.
Yeah, Plague is it's straightforward as far as the strategy goes, but yeah, it's one of those things, if you mistime something or the damage you don't do quite as much damage as you're hoping to the person you're trying to keep dead, things can go south very, very quickly. So, but yeah, Poitrak's got it taken care of, got his Excalibur, got his edge. I wouldn't be surprised if he heads right for ordeals next.
And a nice palette on edge there as well. First time I'm seeing that one up on PK's screen.
Ooh, the blue with the gray hair, is that let me take a guess. Well, no, I don't actually. Is that Sub-Zero?
Yeah, I would have thought Locke, but I thought that we already had a Locke from the previous round of palettes that we had.
Seeing some guesses in chat. Cyan colored palette, PSP FF1 Ninja. Yeah, I could see that. We'll have to get direct confirmation from Scala at some point. But yeah, very cool coloring.
Yes. Yeah, both that Edge and that Cecil together are going to be really styling this party up. Oh, somebody mentioned Sub-Zero. That's a possibility.
Yeah, distinct possibility there. And Dragus going in to get his edge. Poitrak going up ordeals. Just sort of a lot of and then of course Computer also going in to get the MC. A lot of routes just sort of converging here as people picking up what others have finished.
We see Cecil on Dragus's screen is immediately putting that Avenger sword to use. Yeah, almost 600 damage. Only at level, I think maybe 2 or 3 there, and already doing like almost 600 damage a swing.
You love to see it. Not going to get a huge jump in levels here from Cecil from this fight. It's not an enormous XP spot, but yeah, going to... Oh, I'm sorry. This is the second fight, so he's already gotten the XP here, so never mind. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, but that's all right because once he gets his edge here, he might be able to do a little bit of a slingshot depending on where he goes next.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So I believe this is going to put Dragus with a slight edge over the other runners here. It'll be interesting to see what Dragus decides to do now that he's got a relatively powerful party. See if he goes underground and starts doing some of the checks down there.
Yeah, I think aside from, they could certainly start doing trap chests. I think at this point there are 4 on the overworld that are accessible without any additional key items or vehicles, I guess. But there's also a bunch of stuff in the underworld. In fact, grinding, which it looks like it's what Dragus is about to do.
Yeah, I actually really like this call here by Dragus. This is an excellent time to do like a little bit of a mini grind here, especially like you mentioned when you've got Cecil so much lower level than Edge. Cecil's going to get a little bit of a slingshot from this fight here. You get a nice power boost on top of all the great equipment you already have for these characters. It makes a lot more of these underground fights much more easily accessible here. So yeah, really like this play by Dragus.
I don't know if they just started with maybe a couple of sirens, or if they actually found any sirens in shops. I haven't seen sirens in shops, so I suspect that that kit that they started with just came with maybe, 1 or 3 at the start of the game. So they're going to have to be pretty careful with how they use those.
Yeah, my suspicion is that it's part of the kit because, yeah, like you, I did not see them actually pick up any sirens. But yeah, I think this is a really good time if you've got a couple to go ahead and pop them. So yeah, don't fault this play one bit.
Yeah, our tracker Gambit confirming that the kits that they started with came with 2 sirens. So
excellent.
Night, and he just used both of them. So I think this is an excellent use of those.
And looked like he was maybe thinking about going back to the overworld, but thinks better of it, immediately heads south down to Dwarf Castle. This is a really good check here. Not only are you going to get 2 bosses and a character, which could be that Fusoya that we need. Either of those bosses could be the CPU that we need, but you're going to get 2 key item checks as well. You've got Tella in your party. You've done Ordeal, so he has this whole spell list. He's going to be able to cast Warp. With the Warp glitch activated, that means you're going to be able to get the Sealed Cave as well as the normal Luca key item. So let's see if this pays off for Dragus here.
Yeah, I agree. This is actually a very loaded check for this particular seed and flag set.
And that is not a particularly difficult boss fight that Dragus is going to be facing here.
He even has a couple of hourglasses. Again, I think those came with the starting kit. So is popping those to make this fight even more manageable.
Yeah, that is going to make this completely trivial. Getting that edge equipped with some good stuff. Even has a boomerang here so that he can back row glitch his edge. So yeah, should make quick work of this.
PK is also following in Dragus' footsteps here, popping those sirens to gain some levels for his newly paladin Cecil. And so we'll see where he goes, if he decides to do this dwarf check or if he's going to maybe do some divergence. No, he's going straight for dwarf as well.
Don't blame him. Like you mentioned, just a low check. There's just so much potential for this to pay off. So it compared to all the other options available, this is kind of a no-brainer.
Poydrick, on the other hand, looks like he is going back to Eblin Castle. He's already mostly looted this place. He probably knows where all of the traps chests are, since I think he's gotten all the non-traps chests. So this will be a pretty quick check for him, and this will also be a good way for him to get his Cecil some levels. The monsters in here, the trap chests in here, do have pretty good XP.
Dragus running into Wyvern, but we've got that Witchburn flag on, so instead of Mega Nuke, Wyvern knows the significantly less deadly Ray. Everyone gets a little bit of stony feet, but other than that, no problem.
Yeah, I'm sure all of our runners are going to be kind of wiping the sweat mark, the sweat drop off their brow when they see that. The character, I believe, in Dwarf was also Kane. I don't know if Dragus took him or not, though. I did not see.
Yeah, with that White Spear available, Kane is a pretty attractive choice, especially with the Avenger as well, and Cecil with another weapon to use. So, yeah, I did take Kane. Not very surprising there. Really, really good melee weapons available for Cecil and Kane, so they're going to become a core of his offense. And oh my god!
Speaking of melee weapons,
wow! This is the most stacked Cecil I think I've seen in quite some time. They have a Crystal Sword available and an Avenger with which to set Auto Berserk. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, so there isn't a whole lot that can stand in their way at this point with Crystal Sword Cecil, Crystal Sword Avenger Cecil. The other key item there was a Bahamut. So unfortunately there has not been a Rhea in sight, so not sure how much use anybody's going to get out of that.
Yeah, and then also keep in mind, our runners do not have to beat Zeromus here, so they don't have to be styling their parties in such a way that they have to be worried about that specific fight. Now, they do have to get past both the elements and CPU spots, which have a lot of HP, and there could be some nasty bosses there. Some of the nastier ones, such as Kainazo, already out of the picture, though, which is a good thing to see. So they might not necessarily need the sort of overwhelming power you would need for a Zeromus fight, but yeah, they're already well on their way to being able to take on whatever could possibly be there. And so this is a potentially big play for Poydrek. If there is something particularly useful in Eblan Castle, we haven't had any checks there from any of our other runners. This could put him in a huge lead potentially, or it could put him behind if it does not pay off.
Yeah, everybody now, with Computer following both Bregas and PK, has decided to prioritize that dwarf castle check, which we talked about. It is a very powerful check with this flag set, but ultimately, I mean, the Crystal Sword is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but they already had an Excalibur and an Avenger, and it didn't lead to anything else. There were no actual key items, no advancement here. So if Poydrak does get something out of this, it's going to put him in a very nice lead.
Yeah, right you are. Meanwhile, Dragus is hunting through the Fame Arch here, finds the Warrior's chest. Shouldn't be too much of a problem taking care of this. They can do a significant amount of damage. Does have an Hourglass left to deal with him. Is going to have to endure one wave of attacks from them all. Shouldn't be a problem after that. And after that, is going to be able to move into the Fame Arch proper and might be eyeing some of those bosses in there.
I think Poydrak has now cleared out Eblan Castle. I know he got a Protect Ring from that last chest, but I didn't see what the other two were, but I don't see any other key items lit up on his tracker, so that may have been a bust.
Yeah, that is unfortunate because that's going to be a lot of time spent in there. Some really good gear there. Grabbing some mute bells for a potential run at the Sylph Cave later. A lot of trap chests in there, but yeah, now he is definitely behind the other runners at this point.
Question in chat, has anyone gone to Flame Dog yet? No, not yet. That is, we talked earlier a few minutes ago about the 4 trapped chests that are available in the overworld. 3 of them are in the Eblan Castle, which we saw from Poydrak. The last one is that Flame Dog chest, which is in Tower of Zot, and we have not seen it. Now, I saw it looked like Dragus picked something up, but I didn't see what it was. It looked like it was a key item, though.
It was indeed. That was the Twin Harp, and Dragus immediately exits out of the Fame Arch, heading to Tomra. We'll see if he decides to run with that Twin Harp check and give us some music.
Yeah, that Flame Dog chest is often left kind of behind because it can be opened without the Earth Crystal, whereas to complete Zot in its entirety, you have to have the Earth Crystal. So a lot of times runners will skip Flame Dog until they have the Earth Crystal and then just clear Zot entirely once they get it. But if Flame Dog has something important like the Darkness Crystal, that it could just be sitting there for the taking.
Yeah, right you are. Computer deciding not to take Kane, breaking Dathis' heart.
Oh. I like Kane too, so.
A rare stop in the Tomra Inn for Dragus there.
Yeah, I don't know if they just haven't. They probably haven't found cabins yet, is what my suspicion here is. So they're having to find alternate ways to heal their party.
And heading over to Sylph Cave. Is this going to be an actual Sylph Cave check? Yeah, throwing out the floats here with Tella. So Dragus settling in for the long haul here and checking all 7 of the trap chests in the Sylph Cave.
Yeah, this is a bit of a slog. With Cecil, with the Crystal and Avenger on, it won't be as bad. I don't know if Dragus picked up mute bells, though. Of course, there are 3 trapped chests that have ghosts or spirits in them that will open up by casting Fire 2. And there's 6 of them, so that's 6 castings of Fire 2. And it's just, the animations take a long time, so they're just really annoying.
Yeah, there's a couple ways to get past it. Mute bells being one of the simplest ways to. Just throw that out before the casts can go off, and they will have a significantly quicker animation as they attempt to cast Fire 2 and fail. The other thing you can do, there are specific agility values that you can get Hallam up to with Quake, where he will actually cast Quake faster than the Fire 2s can come out from the ghosts. And you can just wipe them up before they even get a chance. I believe that usually involves adamant armor, though, so it's not exactly something you can utilize a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think that I've managed to do it, like, if you have a really good anchor and you get, you know, like a ninja hat and maybe a crystal ring or, you know, something like that to really boost your agility up. But yeah, it involves fiddling with agility and then also usually the battle speed, too.
Yeah, right you are. And there are those ghosts we're seeing, though, how much quicker it is to deal with them with those mute bells. Still kind of a pain, but definitely better than watching fires slap against you ineffectively for what feels like 15 minutes. Wow, another one rejecting Kane. No Kane for Poydrak today.
Oh, come on now. Ooh, that's a darkness crystal that Dragus just found from that ghost chest.
That is potentially huge. So nobody likes checking Sylph Cave. Dragus making a relatively early check of Sylph Cave is rewarded with that darkness crystal. Still going to hunt for key items here because we still need to find CPU. We still need to find Fusoya, but that is a major piece of the puzzle in Dragus's pocket right now.
It all could potentially be behind that darkness crystal. I mean, if Fusoya is up on the lunar altar and CPU is in the giant, you know.
Exactly. CPU could also be on the moon. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I don't blame him. He's already in here. He's got his setup already. He's got Tella with the float. He's already in here. So it's a gamble. I mean, do you fail now and follow that darkness crystal, or do you completely clear this and hope that you get something that's going to, like a package or something that's going to lead to what you need? You know? Yeah,
exactly. There are just so many checks to be made. Cave can't. That I think Dragus is definitely making the smart play here to continue going through. You don't want to leave any stone unturned. Knowing you've got that darkness crystal in a spot where you're probably thinking people are going to be hesitant to check this early is probably a boost of confidence. It's probably going, okay, I can afford to make the rest of these checks and, you know, potentially get even further ahead. So yeah, I think making the right play here, absolutely.
It looks like Computer might be our first runner to show us the trapped chests in the Tower of Babel, Lower Tower of Babel. I like this play. These are actually pretty easy chests. So he should be able to get through these pretty easily with that Crystal Sword Cecil.
Yeah, Lower Babel is definitely a treasure trove, KT seeds. You got 4 trap chests. All of them could have key items. You got the boss at the top that has a key item. And, you know, if any one of those is the tower key, that's an extra key item on top of all of that and an extra boss check in this case, since we're still looking for CPU. So, yeah, definitely a fan of these Lower Babel checks, keyless, especially on KT.
Yeah, and like we talked about with the Sheila and Fabul checks, there are some runners who will put off the tower until they have the tower key. But if you don't find the tower key until maybe in one of those checks, or until after you've gone to the moon or something, but there's something else that's, you know, very valuable up in the tower that you could have gotten early on, it's just a gamble. So I think this is a good play. There's still a lot of checks to be made here, and if the tower key doesn't even have anything, there's no loss in not checking it.
Exactly. Looks like Computer bailed for just a moment to do a little bit of grinding before going up. Looks like wants to do all of the trap chests and the boss in one fell swoop. And PK looks like he's thinking the same thing here.
So Poydrak is going to have that Twin Harp momentarily after getting through this Warriors check. We'll see if we're going to get any music tonight.
And very smart optimization on PK's stream. Before going in here, equipping a Thunderclaw on Edge, and you might be thinking, well, why would you do that? The claws have really low attack power. Well, that's going to add the lightning element to his attacks here, and knowing that those, I believe the Searchers, forget exactly what they're called here, but the ones that summon the monsters have that weakness to the Thunder element, so it's a higher chance that you can one-shot them and completely ignore any of the summoned monsters they might call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thunder arrows, thunder claws. Magic won't actually work on them. I've tried it. It does not work.
I often forget.
But, but the thunder arrows and the thunder claws are definitely very useful. So yeah, definitely heads up play.
And we have the brine shrimp being lifted out of the ocean here. Dragus is going to the moon, it would seem.
The holy shrimp. that's going to take us to the holy moon. Chat also pointing out that now well, first of all, that was an adamant armor on Computer's screen. Well. I just caught that. So I think that was out of one of the trap chests.
Yeah, the one piece of gear we were missing from a fully loaded Cecil, so why not?
Yes,
why not?
Why not? Yeah,
we got a Zeus Gauntlet, we got Crystal Sword. Why not an adamant armor? It's a complete set.
As I was saying, chat pointing out that they do now have access to a D-Machine grind if they want to do it as well, since they do have an old man who has weak, and they have the Darkness Crystal, so that could be a possibility, especially since I don't think they found any more Sirens anywhere.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because that's also going to put you exactly where you need to be anyway to complete the seed. You've got to beat that element spot and that CPU spot on this particular flag set. So, once you feel comfortable doing the grinds, might as well go up there, get some levels under your belt, go ahead and take those bosses out, and then you can just kind of roll over whatever else the seed has as you just sort of scavenger hunt the rest of the items you need.
I think Poidrak is in one of the Feymarch bosses here, and Mylon and Friends is not an overly difficult fight, but this spot is just a rough spot. Both of these spots are pretty rough. They have a lot of hit points. They can have, depending on which one it is, they have a lot of either attack power or magic or maybe both. So yeah, even though Mylon isn't really too scary, this spot is just kind of scary.
Yeah, and one of the things that can be sort of overlooked here is just how fast these spots are too. They can get a lot of turns compared to you, and that can be really punishing. Thankfully, we're down to just Mylon here. All he can do are those lit ones. They hit for about 100 damage. So Poidrak should be able to get this under control and take care of this from this point forward.
Meanwhile, Dragus is on the moon. The character on the lunar dais was a Quorum. I didn't actually see if he took her. She is the weaker of the two white mages that's available, and he does have a Tella. Kind of a hard call if you would take her or who you would dismiss if you do take her.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if I would at this point, because like we said, we don't need to do the Z fight, so you don't really know if an intense amount of healing is going to strictly be necessary or not. And you've got so much overwhelming power already. Yeah, looks like Dragus did not take Quorum. So just comfortable with his power and the spell utility on Tella. Yeah, can't really fault that decision there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, not at all. It looks like he's going to start on at least the moon bosses. Not sure if he's going to start checking chests right away as well, but he at least ran down to the first moon boss and found Dr. Lugay. And this, again, is not too scary of a fight. Lugay isn't too problematic, but this is still a moon boss spot. He's got pretty decent levels, though. So, yeah, it looks like he's taking out the first phase of this fight without too much trouble.
We have
meanwhile,
a sighting.
yes, indeed.
We don't have access to it, but we know where it is.
That will be the Rubicon spot, if I am not mistaken. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. So, if Miss Dragon is hiding anything, they're gonna have to get the hook first.
Oh my goodness, yes. So that would be at least these two now know where it is, because that, that's kind of a trolly spot for D-Mist to be hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing kind of different approaches here to this fight. We got a Rune Axe on Sid for Computer. That's going to do a lot of damage to Asura, who does have that mage typing. Rune Axe doing bonus damage to mage types. PK looks going straight for Starveil strats to get that reflect up on Asura and all of her white magic reflected over. So we'll see who comes out on top first in this fight, going in at roughly the same time.
Dragus, meanwhile, picks up a Dragoon Spear for the Dragoon that he picked up earlier in this seed.
Oh, we got a White Spear, a Dragoon Spear. We've got Crystal Swords, Excalibur's, Avenger, tailor-made for Cecil and Kane.
Yeah, and Edge to a slightly lesser extent, but yeah, Edge has had some pretty good weapons in this seed too.
Yeah, it's just been Melee Palooza tonight. That's pointing out there was a Defense Sword battle too. Someone argued that might be, outside of the Avenger, Kane's best weapon, better accuracy than any of the high-level spears. So yeah, definitely great stuff here.
Does this mean Fu is an Earth Crystal? Fu could still be behind Package or Baron Castle. Are there any other spots that we haven't seen? Or Hook?
And the Hook, yeah. So still a couple places Fu could be. Earth Crystal, of course, with two characters behind it is the most likely. Definitely an Earth Crystal pickup by any of our racers is going to be appreciated. But yeah, still several places other than that. Now, it is worthwhile to note that normally you would get a character from completing the Giant of Babel. Since this is Giant %, that character is removed. So completing Giant of Babel, while required, will not give you a character.
Yep, but it is still required, and Dragus is going to be our first runner to at least go in here and probably peek the bosses. Maybe do that D-Machine grind that we were talking about if it's necessary, but depending on what the bosses are, it might not be necessary. So we're about to see what the first of these two bosses in the Giant is going to be.
Yeah, this is going to give us a lot of information as far as what we're going to need for party comps, what we're going to need for power levels, what we're going to need for healing. When you do a Giant % seed, things are a lot more up in the air than a standard Zeromus kill. Zeromus, nothing is randomized about them other than the sprite, so you kind of know going into it, where you need to be, what sort of setup you're going to have for any given Zeromus kill. Giant % could be any boss in those two spaces, so you've got to be willing to adapt. You've got to have a team that can cover a large number of things. Could be something easy, could be something incredibly hard. There's a pink tail there, though. Yeah,
that's another adamant armor if we find a hook, which we still have not located yet. We also found a spoon at the top of Lower Babel, so if anybody wanted to make a spoon room, we've seen both the spoon and the adamant armor. We just need an actual Edward to put them on.
As if we needed more melee strength in this team.
Right? All right, so let's see what this first boss is.
Oh, Mylon Z. So he's still here, just didn't bring any of his friends.
Yeah, this is not too bad of a fight. He punches kind of hard, but that's all he does is he punches. So if you have illusions, if your Tella can keep up with blinking, if you have an adamant armor on your Cecil, then this is not going to be too bad of a fight.
Yeah, Dragus not even thinking twice about it, going right into the fight, not concerned at all. He's going to be throwing those berserks in his melee. Look at the quad 9s coming out from Cecil with that holy damage. You love to see it.
If you have an adamant armor and a crystal sword on your Cecil, that's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, Mylon does, of course, being undead, have that holy Cecil's crystal sword. Dishes out the holy damage aplenty. This Mylon is not long for the world.
Yeah, this spot has a lot of hit points, but even a lot of hit points is not going to stand up to those quad 9s being dished out every 2 or 3 hits here by Cecil. Yeah, that did not hit.
And there it goes. So that is the boss you want to see at that spot if you've got the kind of gear we've got in the seed. And of course, that spot gives out an enormous amount of experience. So yeah, getting several levels for all of his characters. Shouldn't have much problem going into whatever's here at the CPU spot.
You know, we're almost an hour into this seed, and this is the first of our objectives that anybody is going to have completed on Restream. And we really have not seen that many key items, so it's been kind of a key item dry race so far.
Yeah, that could end up being like the biggest troll part of this seed is trying to find those key items that you need to find, hidden away bosses that could be the CPU or hidden away character spots that could be Fusoya. And CPU spot, no problem whatsoever. It's King Queen Evelyn.
This was like
itself.
This was like the freest giant that they could have asked for with this party.
Yeah, the only thing that could have made this easier was maybe Water Hag at Element Spot might have gone a little bit quicker.
Maybe. Yeah, Cecil would have only had to hit it 3 times instead of 6.
Yeah, Dragus not waiting around for the storyline trigger, just gonna beat them senseless. We'll see if he manages to beat Queen Evelyn to her story trigger here. And gets it.
A bunch of more XP for his whole party as well, so this was a good play for Dragus.
Yeah.
At going here when he did and not bothering to, level up anymore or doing a bunch of bosses that he potentially doesn't need. He's still got a ways to go because this is just one of the 3 objectives, so we still don't know where CPU or Fu are, but
right.
He's set up for the rest of the seed.
Exactly. Yeah, Dragus definitely has a commanding lead at this point. It's just a matter of hide and seek at this point. Just has to uncover where those remaining objectives are. Got the strength to do anything in the game at this point. So, yeah, it's just cleanup time for Dragus. PK manages to get his hands on the Darkness Crystal and is piecing out of the Sylph Cave, it looks like, just after grabbing the Darkness Crystal. So we'll see if he's going to immediately head to the moon or what he's going to do with that.
Looks like Dragus has not been to Castle Evelyn yet, so that's going to be his first check. Honestly, that's a pretty heads-up play because you end up right there on that continent after doing the giant, so, routing-wise, that's a good play for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that he's got so much power, now he's just going to roll over every fight in here. Not going to take very long to make his way through Evelyn Castle.
Question in chat, what does Dragus need? The 3 objectives for this seed were to complete the giant, find Fusoya, and defeat the CPU. So the only thing that we've seen anybody do at this point is Dragus just defeated the giant. So we still have not seen Fusoya or the CPU, so that's what Dragus needs still.
Yeah, our remaining checks we haven't seen for characters are Sots, the package. We haven't seen Evelyn Cave, and I feel like I'm forgetting one. Baron Castle, that's right.
Yep.
Whereas bosses, well, take your pick. We've only seen about half of them.
Yeah. There's everything up on the moon. Pretty much, there was one moon check that we saw, and there's still 2 in Cave Eblin, but we know that one of them is the Mist Dragon. And of course, then there's that trolley one that's behind Mist Dragon in Kaipo, in Kaipo Inn.
I've lost seeds to that one before.
I think everybody has.
So yeah, PK is on the moon, checking out the Hummingway shop here, and we'll see if this is just a character check or if he's going to do a little bit of subterranean excavation here.
Cordrak's going to be finding the Darkness Crystal very soon if he continues down the route that he's in, since he is in Sylph Cave. I don't know if we saw all the checks in the Sylph Cave. I feel like we didn't. I know Dragus did a bunch of them. He continued on with checking chests in the Sylph Cave after finding the Darkness Crystal, but I feel like he didn't do all of them.
Yeah, I wasn't keeping count of exactly how many checks he did, but yeah, you're right. It was a good number of them. So yeah, there could potentially still be something in Sylph Cave, but I think the big prize out of there is definitely the Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, and Dathis also confirming that Dragus did maybe half of the chests. There's 7 of them in Sylph Cave, so it's pretty dense with those trap chests, and it's pretty easy to forget or miss a few of them if you're not paying attention about where you're going and where they are.
Exactly, especially since there's essentially 2 paths you can take through the Sylph Cave. The back way, which leads to all of the where the trap chests would be in the vanilla game, and the front way, which leads to Yang. So yeah, it's very easy to miss one if you're not paying close attention, or if you wanted to make a routing decision to do one half at one point and one half at the other. That's also a valid play, especially if you find something good in your first half of your check.
Well, PK is making that play into the giant. I think he's probably not going to have too much trouble with the bosses here, like Dragus did.
Yeah, definitely not. And yeah, it looks like that lunar excursion was just a character check. So yeah, wants to at least get the one objective out of the way here, and all of the experience that comes with it. So yeah, pretty solid play here.
Dragus is showing us an interesting route up to Cave Magnus by picking up the black chocobo that's in the chocobo forest next to Baron Castle. A black chocobo appears there after you raise the big whale, so that you can get up to the Sylph Cave or the Seal Cave, Magnus Cave. We've been to all these caves.
There's so many caves.
There's so many caves in this game. You can get to Cave Magnus from Baron by riding that black chocobo, as we just saw Dragus did. So he's going to be showing us this music check, which we almost forgot about.
Oh, and hey, Scala Kitty's in chat. Scala, we need to ask you, the Edge sprite's supposed to be Sub-Zero. You got it. Whoever it was in chat that guessed Sub-Zero, you won. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a very nice pickup, because I mean, it makes sense now that it's been pointed out, but I didn't recognize that at the time, so.
All right, Dragus doesn't have a way to get quite through the cutscene here, so after this week, we'll go ahead and ease off comms here so you can enjoy some beautiful music here tonight. And we had the main theme from Final Fantasy V, appropriate colored Cecil.
Yeah, definitely. And I also feel like it was appropriate music for this seed, since I just feel like Final Fantasy V is about exploring and all the different worlds that you go to. And we've had to do a lot of running around in this seed. So we've done a lot of exploring. That was a tower key that Dragus just picked up. So that could be very useful. I also saw that Poidrak had picked, or I think it was Poidrak. Somebody picked up an adamant, the actual rock, which is actually kind of useless in this.
That was Poidrak. Can be interesting in certain, especially when you have Paladin Cecil around. But when we already have easy access to a Crystal Sword, Avenger, Adamant Armor, Zeus Gauntlets, we don't need another Excalibur. Maybe if you want something extra for Edge to throw, but I think that's a little overkill at this point.
Yeah, and when we're playing like League games, you find the adamant and you're like, oh, this is the half of my crystal right there. And now we're just like, it's just a rock.
Yeah, with the birth of the objective system, we haven't seen a lot of Forge the Crystal come into play. But yeah, that used to be, especially last year, that was a huge find. Now just relegated back to side quest status.
Yeah, pretty much. The poor adamant, it had its like 15 minutes or a little bit longer than that, I guess, of fame, and now it's kind of just like, oh, you're just kind of a pretty rock, kind of. So Dragus is immediately taking that tower key that he just found and going up the tower. Gonna get a spoon. I can't remember if there were any other key items in the chests here, but of course we're going to find out what's... Oh, the adamant armor.
Wouldn't call it a key item, but it certainly is key.
Yeah.
Not that Dragus is really hurting character power right now, but now he's got a little bit more.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're going to see what's behind that tower key that he just picked up.
Yeah, PK is heading through the Giants and going to be encountering that Mylon Z in the element spot. Probably won't have too much trouble here with our fully equipped Cecils as they are. He's doing a full loot of the Giant here and gets himself another pair of Zeus Gauntlets.
It's like maybe the third or fourth set of Zeus Gauntlets that we've seen in this seed.
Yeah, Wildish is it's living up to its name here tonight. And was PK just doing a last arc check here, possibly, because it looks like he's heading out of the Giant now.
Oh, that would be interesting if he was. Oh, maybe now is he going back in? I wonder if he was so focused on key items that he forgot that he had to do Giant. Like that was his actual objective.
It's potential he might have just been trying to get all of the chests here, since he realized with Wildish on and this being an incredibly late game dungeon, it's going to have a lot of good loot. He did find a lot of great things in there, so that also might have been what he was doing. But yeah, now turning around, heading back towards the bosses, and looks like he's going to take on those two bosses and get one of his objectives out of the way.
And this was Mega Sisters in the cannon room. Of course, that boss spot is pretty easy. Mega Sisters can be kind of annoying, so, nice to just get them out of the way there.
Yeah, so no progression from the boss itself, but the key item could also could still be something big. It could be a Earth Crystal, which could potentially lead to Fusoya, and another couple of boss checks. Could be something else that opens up a path. But we're not going to get the check on that until he's fully finished with the tower here, which is going to be another couple of minutes.
PK must have already defeated Mylon because he's in the King Queen Evelyn. So I wonder if he maybe didn't realize that he has to completely clear the Giant to get the objective complete.
Yeah, I had taken my eyes away from PK screen, so I'm not exactly sure how that went down, but he is just moments away from getting this fight done. Looks like he's just going to wait for the storyline trigger. The fight will end itself, and he will be our second on-screen runner to complete an objective here.
Meanwhile, Poidrak is going to give us a reprise of that harp music on his screen in just a moment here. Dragus got that spoon from the Ashura at the top of the tower. I saw him set up the wall strats for Ashura, but I don't. With his team, I don't think it was even needed. I don't think that Ashura even got a chance to act.
Yeah, I do not think it did. I think it maybe got a counter in, and that was it. So very shortly, we'll be seeing on Dragus' screen what the tower key led to. And this could be big. This will be our first new check of a key item in some time. So we'll see if this opens the seat up.
Yeah. Of course, we have the Darkness Crystal, but nobody has really chased it aside from finishing up the giant. So who knows? There's a lot of checks up there between all the chests and the actual lunar checks. So who knows what's just sitting up there.
Yeah, right you are. It is a very large time sink to go out there and try to clear the moon, so I don't blame our runners for exhausting all of their bound checks before heading up to the moon. But yeah, there's still a lot of potential for both character checks and boss checks up there. Character checks through key items and boss checks just from being up there. Rat Tail. Still no hook to turn that in, though.
Poidrak, meanwhile, is going to show us this, I'm assuming is going to show us this Flame Dog check. Now, you know, the other thing that Poidrak could check while he's up here is the Mega Sister's spot, because if that is CPU, that's another objective that he could take out without needing an actual key item.
Yeah, this is a cheeky play here by Poidrak. If this ends up paying off, all of a sudden the momentum can swing very heavily in favor.
Death is pointing out that of the two characters that are available up here, you can actually see the first one without actually getting the Earth Crystal as well. You can't get that character, but you can at least peek it.
That is an excellent point. So yeah, even if he doesn't play with actual tangible progress, he could have the information he needs to, seek out a specific item and come back here as soon as he have it. Maybe dip out early out of a dungeon because he knows he has what he needs to finish the seed.
Yeah, this could be the game changer or game winner for him if it leads to something important.
The other thing to note, Poidrak was in Sylph Cave earlier, I believe, making checks there, but I don't think he actually came across the Darkness Crystal, so it might have just been a half check.
Yeah, it's not lit up on his tracker, so that's possible. He may. There's
wow!
The hook.
What were we just talking about?
Yes, that's actually very huge. He just finished. He just finished music, right? So he has the tower key. So he could go get that rat tail. But even without that, he can check the character. He can check Mist Dragon, and he knows it's there because he's done top tower. And he can check the two chests that are behind the hook.
Yeah, this is potentially huge for Poidrak. just like we said, the momentum might be shifting here into Poydrak's favor if the things in Eblin pan out for him. He might have just taken control of the seed, but it's still there's still a lot of questions up in the air. We know Mr. Dragon is there. We don't know that Mr. Dragon is holding on to something particular. There's another boss that is down in Eblin Cave as well. So still a lot on the line here, but things are looking interesting for Poydrak.
So this is Water Hag. So this is not the boss he was looking for, but he's completing it anyway, and gonna go check that character like we talked about.
It's a bard.
Yeah, so not the boss and not the character that we need, but the key item was still a pretty huge find.
Right, and Fusoya could still be on the torture altar there, whatever you want to call it, with the menacing censored ball.
Absolutely, yes.
So we still could need the Earth Crystal, but
I mean, Fu and CPU could still be up here because there's still another boss up here that you need.
Yeah, right, you are.
Crystal to complete. Yeah.
Dath is saying the New Year's altar. I like that one. But yeah, just knowing that Edward is there and knowing the first boss is CPU, I think Earth Crystal got a little less attractive than it would normally have, because you could normally get the two characters in there. We know one of them isn't the character we need, but still, like you said, that could still be the key. Yeah, huge shout outs for Gambit for tracking KQMT seed is never an easy thing to do.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Computer also just picked up their tower key here from doing the music cave. Sealed cave. What cave is this? Oh, it's the Magnus cave. That cave, the music cave. And PK, I think this was the first time we saw this Baigan fight down here in the Fey March. This is a Leviathan summon that he picked up down here.
Yeah, and Dragus
Leviathan
right on...
from the Leviathans. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, no, very appropriate that he would get that there. Just mentioning that Dragus is right on PK's heels and is going to be making those same checks here, while Poydrak is picking up the hovercraft and heading to Cave Eblin. So... interesting developments on Poydrak's screen here.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting to see what we find down here for characters and at the trapped chests. And I imagine that he's going to go beat that Mist Dragon if he remembers that it's there.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine, even if you didn't know that the Mist Dragon was there, I wouldn't imagine going in at this point with the how strong your party is and only like half checking Eblin Cave when there's so much potential to be had in there. So I expect this will be a full clear from Poydrak. And quick work of Mylon by PK. That's going to clear out the Fey March for him.
Just an elixir. I don't know that we actually had seen the reward from that fight when someone did it earlier, but yeah, Sylph Cave or get all my caves all mixed up tonight. Fey March bosses are haunted.
Very haunted.
Inven would say that Fey March is haunted.
He's got a trap chest check. It's getting on to me too. Trapped chest check here from Poydrak. Potential key item here. Just a life staff. Not even taking it. He's so loaded he doesn't even.
He's like, whatever.
That is the epitome of loaded right there. When you throw a life staff in the trap.
When you can casually just toss a life staff, yes.
Oh, there he is! So that's going to change a lot right now. That means we are just looking for a boss check right now. All of the character checks are meaningless. We know where Uncle Mop is. And now it's just a matter of hunting down those remaining bosses and seeing which one of them is the CPU.
Yeah, this was a trolley play because it was at that flame dog spot. And like we talked about real early on, nobody wants to go there until they have the earth crystal because it's just that lone single check that you have to dip in and then dip out to do it.
Yeah, right you are. And it's crazy about how much the shift now. Dragus has had a commanding lead of this seed for so long, and with that just one little play there, that one little let me poke in and see, Poydrak, I would say, is pretty much in command of this. Just has to finish his game of hide and seek now.
Yeah, and Mist Dragon is still behind in the Rubikend spot, so he's probably going to have to clear both of these spots regardless of what's in the first spot here. Even if CPU isn't in the King Queen Evelyn spot, he probably has to clear that Mist Dragon, because if Mist Dragon has something like the Baron Key or the Earth Crystal, those all also lead to bosses that could potentially be CPU as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be an incredibly gutsy play at this juncture to scum out of the King Queen Evelyn fight. So I fully expect, even with all this, Poydrak is going to go and full clear this. So setting up his old man, still doing the trap checks here, because again, there could still be a key item that leads to more boss fights.
You know, I had kind of forgotten it, but chat pointed out that CPU could be in the sealed cave, the actual sealed cave. I'm not getting that mixed up this time. And so they already got the item from it, but there's a boss in there. They could still need the Luca key to go in there and get the boss.
That is a very good point. I think right now, given what we know, that might be one of the trolliest locations.
I agree. Like, I think that's even trollier than behind Mist Dragon, or package rather, in Kaipo.
Yeah, certainly. We'll see what happens, but yeah, that could be a pretty hilarious turn of, especially since we don't even know where the Luca key is. It could be up on the moon for all we know.
Yeah, or it could be behind it could be behind the rat tail chain that nobody knows of yet, because Dragus doesn't have the hook and Poydrak doesn't have the rat tail yet.
And back to the moon for Dragus. Is this going to be a more extended moon play here? Heading over to the Cave Bahamut, is he hoping for value? And no CPU at King Queen Evelyn.
Yeah, just a bunch of guards guarding a Mist Dragon.
Dragus is going to show us what's at Bahamut, and it is... Ooh! You saw the hesitation there. Do I really want to do this?
Yeah, that's definitely not CPU.
No, it is not. Not a particularly difficult fight, but certainly a pain to have to get through. It's got the Star Veils. This shouldn't be too bad. Setting some equipment up on Cecil here. Looks like I gave him a Aegis Shield for the magic defense, and setting the Star Veil up early. Now, if he's got the Adamant on, he should be immune to this hold gas. And he is good. So he's going to be able to start this much earlier. He'll also be immune to the destruct from the Shadow Dragon. So really good position here to take Golbez out very quickly. Really good rolls on those demolishes as well. Two of them tried to hit Cecil, who was immune, or tried to hit somebody else who was could have more instant death protection than just the adamant armor. But yeah, very easy to get his units back up here, and should be taking care of Golbez in very short order here.
Yeah, that crystal sword is gonna eat right through Golbez's dark armor.
Yeah, weak to holy and fire of all things.
Yeah, we see Tella tries to berserk Cecil, but Cecil does still have a veil up. So the only way Cecil could berserk himself is with an Avenger, or if he has a Bacchus Wine. Bacchus Wine actually goes through walls.
Yes, indeed. Poydrak is through the Mist Dragon fight, so has completed the circuit through the hook route. Just a glass helm from Golbez there in the Bahamut's butt, so no value tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing. It would have been nice if Golbez actually had something of value, so that he was required, because he's such a fun early boss.
Yeah, but that would require Golbez to be nice, and we know that.
Well, that's true.
So I am eager to find out what is behind the Mist Dragon check here, and I've got to assume that that's where Poydrak is headed next. No, actually, I forgot. He is going into the tower next. That's right.
Yeah, that's true. He's gonna get that rat tail, so by the time he's done with this, he's gonna have two very worthwhile checks to show us. Meanwhile, Dragus is going to continue the dive into the lunar subterrane. He had already started this. He did the Pale Dim spot that was right toward the top here. I can't remember if it even had anything. I don't think it did. I think it had a Dragoon Spear.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Yeah. Now it looks like he's going to actually maybe start checking chests on the way down as well.
Yeah, seems like that's the case. So it's going to be a full top to bottom sweep of the subterranean, in it for the long haul here. So keep an eye peeled on Dragus' screen. Any one of these trap chests might have something interesting in it. Behemoth's always a nasty encounter, no matter how powerful you are, because those counters hit so hard.
Yeah, I mean, even the highest level parties, your characters with lower HP like Tella and even Edge, who's a little bit on the squishy side, a couple hits you're gonna fall pretty easily.
Are you kidding me?
Well, Edge needed more silverware to dart.
Apparently. Either that or he needs to teach Cecil how to dual wield.
There you go. Getting 2 of the 9 trapped chests right out of the gate here. Both of them are behemoths. Poor Edge. Edge just got one-shotted by that one.
Yeah, he's not having a lot of fun with these behemoths.
Yeah, Edge is a real powerhouse, especially early in the game. He can do a lot of damage. He's got great utility, being able to use some magic. The dart command is great. Even the steel command has its uses situationally. But his hit point growth is a little bit lacking late game, especially for like one of your frontliners.
Yeah, and especially he does have his own unique that he gets, but it has virtually no defensive stats on it, just boosting his agility through the roof. So it just kind of really lends himself to the glass cannon roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Poydrak picking up that rat tail.
And is heading over to grab the hover. Looks like he's going to give us a peek at what the rat tail has. It's the package.
Ooh.
All right, Maggie. If you're Poydrak right now, do you chase that?
I mean, you're going to miss anyway because you're gonna go turn that Mist Dragon in, right? He's still gonna turn the Mist Dragon in. So I would check. Obviously, you're gonna check with Rudy's mom and see what she's got. But if that leads to nothing, yeah, I'm actually probably gonna chase the package.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I think I'd probably be in the exact same boat. Check Rudy's mom and then go take a look at the package boss. Oh my goodness!
Now what do you do? He's checking.
He's going for it. He's doing it.
Yeah.
So Poydrak has the potential to show us a CPU in one of the two trolliest spots it could be in here.
Mm-hmm.
This has gotten very, very interesting.
It has gotten very fun. Yes, this has been a very fun seed.
And while we wait on these checks, we'll have one last encore of music here, PK.
Meanwhile, Dragus is getting even more equipment for his characters, or stuff to dart for Edge. I saw another white spear come out of a trapped chest.
He is running into these double dragon fights, which are no joke. They can very easily take care of you, even if you're prepared. They hit very hard. They can sometimes take double turns. Just really nasty fights all around.
It looks like he does have Artemis arrows on his Sid, which are very helpful. If he happens to have that Dragoon Spear still, he could put that on Kane, but it looks like he's got the Avenger on Kane instead.
Yeah, it's still going to be doing fine damage here. Yeah, whew, that crit from Sid doing over 9,000 damage. That's huge.
Yeah, that's very, very nice.
Don't usually see Sid doing that much damage.
I mean, that's just a Stardust rod.
There's a Stardust rod for Tella, I guess? Here we go on Poydrak's screen. Oh, it's Dark Imps, and he resets out.
Resets right out, yep. So he reset out of the Luca key, I think.
Ooh,
yeah, he reset out of the Luca key because he didn't save after picking up the Luca key.
Yeah, right you are. Yeah, he went right from the Luca key to the package check, so not interested in checking the Luca boss, which is one of the it would be an incredible long shot for the Luca key boss to be CPU, but it's still on the table.
It is. Wow. I mean, he may not even be considering that. I mean, I wouldn't blame any runner for kind of forgetting that that's even a possibility. You're like, oh, Sealed Cave is done, is moved. I already got the item in there. There's nothing else in there. I don't need the Luca key. Like, you don't even consider it,
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's still plenty of bosses we haven't seen else. Don't know that Luca key is strictly necessary or not. We still have 4 boss spots on the moon we haven't seen, and there's still plenty of key items that have bosses behind them. But yeah, that's one thing that's going to be gnawing in the back of our minds here for the rest of this broadcast.
Now, if you're Poydrak, how far behind do you think you are? Because he just got that Darkness Crystal.
I got to be feeling a little bad about that, just because I know that's so many checks to be done. Of course, we know that, like, the moon is largely undiscovered territory. Dragus is just going into it now and is only still about halfway through chest checks right now. But yeah, if I'm in Poydrak, I'm probably panicking a little bit because now I know that, oh, I was in here earlier. I didn't get the Darkness Crystal. Now I have it. Yeah, he is beelining it to the moon here.
Yeah, but I mean, all things considered, he's not that off. He's the only one with Fusoya, so...
Exactly, yeah. He actually, I would even say he's at an advantage right now, but he probably doesn't know it.
Right, you got, and that's he probably is panicking because he was in there. He left that one particular spot for last for whatever reason, and he's probably just like, has what has been there that I've missed all this time.
It'll be very interesting depending on how he decides to tackle the moon. If that's indeed where he's going, he could also be giant right now, because he still has to do that objective as well. Might be banking that CPUs around in that area. And yeah, that is what he's doing, going right to the giant.
Yeah, I mean, you know that you have to do it, so you may as well do it and get it out of the way.
And yeah, Death is pointing out we do have 2 finishers so far. Dia finished in first place, the time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, 39 seconds. GG to Dia. And Flurry has finished as well, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 26 seconds. Congratulations to both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. GG to our first and second place finishers. Of course, our restreamed runners are not our only runners in this race. We have, I think, 13 or 14 people running in this race total, just featuring our 4 runners tonight. So GG to everybody who's participating in this race. This was quite the seed.
Yeah, certainly. And it really begs the question, where is the CPU? My guess, just if I were metagaming here based on these finishes, I would be guessing that it's one of the moon bosses somewhere.
I think that's a very good. There's a very good chance of that. If not, then it's behind something that the moon boss is holding, like it's at Baron Castle, and the moon boss is holding a Baron Key.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, with those times at 90 minutes and under, it seems unlikely it would be behind a key item quest chain that was like from a trapped chest on the moon or something like that. But we'll see. I don't think Dragus has unearthed anything that would unlock additional boss fights yet from these trap chests.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten a single key item from any of these trapped chests. I've seen lots of items for Cecil and Kane. I think there was a white shirt, that Stardust Rod, a heroine robe here, but I haven't seen a single key item come out of any of the trapped chests that he's checked so far. And he's gotten quite a few of them. I think that was maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah, he's getting pretty close to the end of the line as far as trap chests go. It looks like we'll get a Wyvern spot check here. And not who we're looking for.
Yeah, not quite the mechanical piece of equipment that we're looking for.
Of course, this is going to be an interesting situation for Dragus, because if CPU is on the move and he gets CPU, that doesn't put him in a much better position, because he still needs to go up to Zot to get Fusoya and does not know that yet.
Yeah, absolutely. You're still looking for your food, so where do you go? You still have an Earth Crystal, a Baron Key that could lead to that food, because he doesn't know even what character spot the food is in.
Right, exactly. And yeah, PK beginning his scourging of the moon here, go through the trap chests, running into those double dragon fights himself. And some more great gear.
Question from our tracker Gambit. Has anybody checked the hairdryer's chest? I don't think so. Yeah, Dap is confirming too. I don't think anybody's checked that chest. That's the lone chest that's in the lunar path. And I haven't seen anybody go there.
Yeah, me neither. And that's an easy one to forget about if you're not explicitly thinking about it.
Oh, I remember a seed of the week that I did a long time ago, and like I'm pretty sure that I had to forfeit it because I was like, I've checked everything, and apparently I haven't checked everything, and that was the one. And so now I never forget it because of that seed. But yeah, that's an easy one to forget.
It's one that I always like to think about when I go to the. Just because it can be a really good early source of experience points, especially if you've got access to hourglasses, and you can take them out relatively easily, and you've got life glitch to utilize. If you get an early darkness crystal, that can be a really good way to get an early boost for your characters. So yeah, I'm a fan of the hairdryer chest, but yeah, very easy to overlook stuff like that.
Yeah, the forgotten chest is insane, and it's true. It is. We just got another Avenger from somewhere.
Oh, good. Now they can both have one. Baron Key.
Yeah, exactly.
Baron Key's potentially big. That's
Also,
3 boss checks there. Well, one we know is not CPU because we saw it in the intro, but there's 2 other bosses that could be there.
it could also be potentially Trolley, because that was Dragus who picked that up, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Like if he finds CPU. I'm sorry. Yeah, if he finds CPU up here and then uses the Baron Key to look for a character, that's going to be Trolley instead of Big. Poindrak, meanwhile, Poindrak wants to go to Luca, but forgot that he didn't actually get the Luca key after he reset out of and missed the Kaipo guards fight.
Yeah, you can see the confused fumbling through the inventory there. We all know we've all been there.
Yep. That's like when you are in a Forge percent game and you get your databit and you get your legend sword and you go straight to Zeromus. And you're like, wait, where's my crystal?
And Poindrak back into Sylph Cave. Looks like this is his 3rd trip into Sylph Cave, I believe, to clear chests. And yeah, that's no one wants to go into there once, let alone 3 times. Dragus making quick work of that Ogopogo in a slightly altered spot. Gets another life staff. We've seen plenty of those. That's not even exciting anymore.
Yeah, we've already thrown away like.
We've made log cabins out of discarded life staffs.
Yeah, come on now.
And is this a D-Machine grind over on Computer's end of things?
I was just eyeing that. Yes, he is in the Giant, and this looks like the kind of fight that would lead to a D-Machine grind.
Yeah, very interesting. Might be looking to catapult that Porum a little bit.
Oh yeah, he did pick up that Porum from the Lunar Altar.
He's certainly in a position to do so. Porum very low level, and yet runs away because it looks like it's just the Horseman, not the D-Machine. See, there's 2 different approaches to trying to get a D-Machine grind going. Just do what Computer is here and sort of run away till you get the formation that looks like it's right. Unfortunately, there are 2 different formations, one where the Searcher can summon Horsemen and one where it actually summons the D-Machines that you want. There is also the sort of encounter manipulation way to do it, where we have some charts and information available online to follow, where if you walk a certain specific route and count your steps, you can be sure of getting the D-Machine fight that you want by just looking at what your what step you get into your first encounter and sort of counting from there. It's a bit more complicated, but it is a sort of guaranteed if you follow the steps to get it.
Yeah, it is. Dragus just picked up another adamant armor, by the way.
Of course.
Even with the steps, the steps guide though, it can still take a while to find the correct encounter if you just happen to get a bad step route. multiple times in a row, it can still take you several minutes to get the right encounter.
Yeah, right you are. And there are some places you can land encounters that can't lead to the machine grind, so you got to sort of set and start things over.
Yeah, or even if you start the encounter off poorly, I've done that where you're like, this is just not going well.
Yeah. Computer finally gets the encounter he's looking for here and is going to set his grind up.
Hardrak going back to pick up the Luca key from Rudia's mother. Maybe going to go back down into that sealed cave and see what the boss in there is.
And with Odin on Ogopogo's altar, that means that no CPU on the moon. It could be behind that Baron key that Dragus found.
Yeah, or if Odin is holding something.
Yeah, could
like
be
Earth Crystal. I think is the only thing that's in play. Or Pan. Pan could lead to Earth Crystal, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be the Earth Crystal itself. Pan to Earth Crystal. Either of those could lead to an extra boss. So yeah, I think those are the only things that Odin could have that could potentially open something up. And Poidrak with the Luca key play here. I'm kind of rooting for this. I kind of want this to... Oh, there's the Earth Crystal, though. We're just talking about that.
Well, so Dragus has got two potentially big... Well, okay, so he's got the Earth Crystal, so at least at some point he's going to go up and get that hook. Exactly.
Yeah, if he decides to chase the Earth Crystal first, he's on the route to get the hook, which means he's on the route to get Fusoya. If that also gives him one boss check that could potentially be CPU. If he decides to chase the Baron key instead, we know he's not going to get Fusoya, but he is going to get two boss checks that could potentially be CPU. And the moment of truth on Poidrak's screen, take a look and let's see who is at the evil wall spot.
I am waiting with bated breath.
Oh, it's a mom bomb.
It's just a mom bomb. That is so disappointing.
And yeah, it looks like Dragus is going to go right to Zot. So this is going to put him eventually on the right path for finding Fusoya. And potentially, if that last spot in Zot is CPU, then this could be Dragus swinging back into the lead here for our restreamed runners.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that there are any other spots besides the top of Zot and the stuff that's in Baron Castle that we haven't seen now, are there?
I've been racking my brain and I can't think of anything. So it's, Dragus has all the keys he needs, as far as I know, to finish this seed. Just needs to put the puzzle together.
Yeah, I don't think that he's seen everything. That's the thing. Like, if he goes down a rabbit hole, like the Luca key, like Poidrak just did, I don't know that he will, though, if he'll get that far. He's probably going to find what he needs before that.
Yeah, now Poidrak, who had gotten a huge advantage from finding that hook, is now chasing Dragus. He's going to have to get all the way through the moon here. He's going to probably have to check all of the chests and eventually just come up with that Baron key and that Earth Crystal, one of which leads to that boss that we're hoping for.
Well, Poidrak is at least wisely milking out of Golbez.
Yeah, there could be, there's the potential it's a key item, but it looks like Poidrak is just looking for the bosses at this point.
He may be just looking for the bosses, or he may also be saying, I'm so far behind that I'm not going to bother with the stuff that's really trolling, like Golbez or Gauntlet, maybe, Because if it's there, I'm not going to win this thing,
Yeah, right you are. Dragus gets his hook and is continuing on through Zot. Gonna run into what was here? Oh, that's right. It was the water hack. PK finishing the Odin fight, and I believe that's going to be a clear move for him as well.
Yeah, picking up the Earth Crystal. And he did all the chests as well, didn't he? He was like kind of right behind Dragus.
Yes, because he has the Baron key as well. So that is going to be their spot to Dragus right now. So this could be a moment of truth here on Dragus's screen. Is CPU the second boss in Zot?
Well, and he's waiting with bated breath to see if Fusoya is up here on the torture altar, as we were calling it. Of course, we know that he's not, but Dragus does not know that yet.
Yep, just a little girl. Well, adult girl, I should say. We have done Dwarf Castle at this point.
Yeah, she's all grown up now. You know, we had some really nice summons for her if we had found her like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate seed to be getting her so late when, yeah, there was a lot of good available spells for her.
Oh,
there it is!
There it is!
Wow, so Zot held the key to just about everything here.
Yeah, it really did. We had the hook, which led to Fusoya, and it had the boss that we needed. So, yeah, like half of our objectives were sitting right here.
Yeah, so an early Moon Clear would have been a strong play because that would have given you the Earth, put you on the right path to get everything else done.
Yeah, the underground was total bust, wasn't it?
Yeah, the only thing of value was the Darkness Crystal in Sylph Cave.
Oh yeah, I guess they needed that Darkness Crystal for the underground. Yeah.
So now all Dragus needs to do is decide to make the Eblin Cave check, because that is where Fusoya is going to be. He might choose to do Baron first because they both reward a character. And since this already puts you in Baron, we'll see what he decides to do here.
You know, he now also has the hook and the rat tail, which leads to the package. So he might at least peek that. He's, you know, as soon as he sees that it's not food, he's going to know not to finish it. But
right,
he could do that.
Deciding to go through Baron here first, so.
You know, routing
wise,
a
little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra time for the other runners, but he's the doom of Damocles is hanging over their head, right?
Yeah, routing wise, this is not a bad play because you know, after doing Zot, you end up right here in Baron. So doing this next is a good play routing wise. It's just, you know, we know it's not going to lead to anything. Poydrak does appear to be prioritizing the moon bosses over the trapped chests, which is a good idea. Obviously, we know that the chests don't have anything, but also there has been some speculation that bosses tend to be more heavily weighted toward having key items. So he might just be saying, I'm just going to check the bosses because I need a boss and they have a better chance of having key items.
Girl named Captain pointing out a second food could be in Baron. Now my understanding is that since the character is taken out for in Giant Percent, the character that you would get from the Giant is taken out, which would remove the duplicate character spot. So there wouldn't be a duplicate character. I could be wrong on that, though. Someone please feel free to correct me.
I feel like you're probably correct, Snape, but I also don't know that 100%. We also have not seen Rosa, and I think that this is the only character check that we have not seen, so this is probably going to be Rosa.
Yeah, that would make sense. And a quick end to the Dark Elf for Dragus. I expect we'll see a reset here when Rosa shows up. And then it'll be over to Evelyn Cave, most likely. Oh, going through with it because he does not have the package. So the package may be showing up here is why he's still going through with this. So that makes sense.
Meanwhile, we did also have a third place finisher. Pizza 34 came in third with a time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 34 seconds.
Yeah, GG to Pizza. This was not a kind seed. I mean, it was kind as far as the gear goes, but as far as where things were located, a little bit of a trolley side.
Yeah, I think it was casual as far as like the gear was very generous. It wasn't very difficult as far as like just getting through it, but just finding what you needed. It was like really a world tour that we went on here.
Yeah, lots of running around. Oh, over on computer screen, up against Golpez, we've got pigs.
Piggy strats.
So this is exploiting the fact that in Final Fantasy, characters have one status effect on them at a time, and there is a hierarchy of status effects. So if a status effect is going to be put on you and it's not higher on that hierarchy tier than the status effect you already have, it doesn't go on. So this allows Computer to ignore the hold gas here and let his characters act faster than they ordinarily would have, since they can just skip waiting for Golbez to heal them. If you've ever run into the pain of trying to berserk somebody who has poison on them during the Lugai fight, then you know exactly what.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really nice little piece of tech. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but nice strat that was discovered last year. I think during the league, or I think it was during the league, for how to get through this fight. I think there are a few other strats or statuses that can also be used. I think poison is one of them, and I think mute is the other.
Oh no, no, do it! Oh, PK is gonna give us a heart attack. Looked like he might have been skipping chests. Went up, came back down, and then went back up, and finally did check the chests.
Oh,
that's
wow.
big because we know the hook is there.
No kidding.
Yeah, now is not the time to be skipping that chest because we know that is required.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Dragus checking the trap chest in Cave Evelyn just in case it's the package and it's needed. We know, of course, that it's not, but moments after this, we'll be running into Fusoya and putting an end to his run.
We did also have a 4th and 5th place finisher. Marilyn came in 4th with a time of 1:52:31, and Korik came in 5th with a time of 1:52:55. So right behind each other. GG and congrats to our 4th and 5th place finishers.
Yeah, congrats to both of them. Seen a lot of new names, and that's really fun to see. Always love it when new people are getting in and having fun. So yeah, GG's to them.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone here is watching or hanging out in Twitch chat and is interested in joining us, definitely check out our Discord. We run these community races every week on Monday and Friday evenings. And we're always very welcoming of new players. Of course, you're welcome to watch, but always welcome to join us as well. You can be restreamed if you'd like, but if not, you can just come in and join us casually. And there we have Dragus, our first of our featured runners on Restream finishing. So GG to Dragus.
Yeah, final time of 1 hour 55 minutes 39 seconds, and yeah, that was a world tour, like you said.
Yeah, it was a bit of a slog, but they got through it in the end there.
We'll see if we can have Dragus in here for an interview. And I believe there he is. Dragus, GG, congratulations on finishing.
Thanks.
So Wildish, giving you a lot of gear there, isn't it?
I got all my gear, and then I started collecting more and more gear.
That's you sure did.
Yeah, we're laughing at the idea that when you get a life staff and you just immediately throw it out, you know the seed has been kind to you in that regard. So how did you feel about the routing you had to do, or kind of going all over here?
Felt like I basically just went through everything at some point.
Yeah, when you were the first person on stream to sort of go through the moon and get the Earth crystal that ended up being the critical one. Was there, when you got the Baron key first, were you sort of thinking that was going to be your key, or sort of what was going through your mind at that point?
I was like, I need to be checking everything at this point.
Yeah, was there ever any thought of trying to do Zot early? Because we had Poydrak on screen. He actually went in and did the Flame Dog early and got that hook and managed to grab Fusoya really, really early, and it just was sort of looking for CPU the rest of the time. Was there ever an idea to do Zot early, or were you just kind of like, nah, I'm going to save this for when I find the Earth Crystal?
I was saving it mostly.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's always easier to do one check rather than multiple there.
Yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts about the seed in general?
It's like just a long hunt.
Yeah, that it was. Well, congratulations for finishing first on stream. It's been a pleasure having you, and yeah, thanks for participating in the community race, Dragus.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
You too.
And that was Dragus, our 6th place finisher, but our first of our restreamed runners. GG to him. Make sure to give him a follow along with all the rest of our restreamed runners tonight.
Yeah, all of our runners incredibly entertaining. They stream a whole lot, so definitely show them some love, and especially if you like watching some free enterprise, they're some of the best. Yeah,
absolutely. I know that we talked about our volunteers earlier putting in a lot of time and effort, but our runners put in a lot of time and effort for our entertainment as well. So make sure to give all of them a follow when you get a chance as well.
So Poydrak has that Earth Crystal, his second trip into Zot. It looks like he is on track to finish this up here.
Yeah, absolutely. He was very close to taking that lead from Dragus. He made some really gutsy, gambly plays. Going to, the package, checking the Kaipo Guard's spot, checking that Luca key after already doing the Dwarf Castle glitch. And those could have definitely paid off for him if they had been the right plays.
Yeah, there's a lot of gambling involved in the Enterprise, trying to make a play you think your opponent might not, and seeing if it'll pay off. Poydrak is an incredibly skilled runner. He's very good at making those kind of plays and not letting it affect his momentum too much, and that is pretty evident here with how sort of a different route he took for Dragus to get here, how he made those early plays and still finishing so close behind Dragus is pretty good testament to how adaptable a runner Poydrak is. And PK finishing up Baron Castle, does not want the Marl colored Rosa. And I believe, since also getting that Earth Crystal from the moon, that will probably be the next check.
Yeah.
No, excuse me. He's already been to my apologies. So.
Oh yeah. So he just needs to go do the same route that Dragus did. Essentially, go in Ebling Cave, with the hovercraft and pick up the Fusoya to finish this up.
Yeah, and he does not have the rat tail, so probably will not get distracted by that. Heading to the to head to that and get distracted by the package there. And we have got finished by Poydrak, and I believe Poydrak has joined us here.
Maybe.
Heading to
boss hunt.
Yeah, no kidding. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about was that early check into Zot. That got you the hook long before anybody else on stream ever did. What was sort of going through your mind when that led to Fusoya and it just became a huge hunt for CPU?
It was how I expected from the very get-go, to be perfectly honest. Fu was the easy one. We knew he was going to be in the seed somewhere. There was only going to be one of him. He could have been anywhere, but there's only limited amount of spots you can check. CPU was the main one, and because he could be squirreled away behind who knows what. And guess what? We don't know what he was behind.
It was back where he had already been.
Yeah.
You were the only person to make the check into Luca after the warp glitch, and I got to tell you, I had my fingers crossed. I wanted that to be the play. Was that a sort of a desperation
for that?
Yeah.
It's happened so often recently. It was worth the check. It was that or go to the moon, and with 5 boss spots to check on the moon, and the potential of all of those trap chests to go through, the easy play was just to check Luca first. It's quicker, it's got less risk. You've only got to go through 2 doors, and you don't even have to fight the fights under these flag settings. It's just the quicker play overall. It's just not today when you really want it to be. I think the only bad thing I've made there was possibly the early going for edge. That it was a bit too slow, but that's just a little bit of a wrinkle in it, I think.
Right. Well, I can't blame you for the play, because you went to Evelyn Castle right out of the bat and found that I think it was the Murasame.
Yeah.
Which really incentivized Edge, even above and beyond the others. So I really can't blame it there. Was that that early Eblin, was that sort of just spur of the moment thought, or was that something you've been considering for a while for this kind of flag set? What was sort of your thought process there?
It was on my mind, but it was only going to happen if, well, actually, yeah, well, I would say it was either there or Watery Pass. To start off with, is my usual get-go for a Wildish or a Proceed for treasures. But in this case, with trap chests being on the table, going to Eblin first is actually the better play, because you know where the trap chests are. You open everything except the trap chests, so you can come back there later with your hourglasses or just straight up damage to get through them quickly. And you don't have to worry about opening every other chest to find them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's actually really good advice.
It was only because of the trap locations that it was that play today. Normally I would go to Watery Pass, especially with Teller, because you can exit right out of the end and not have to waste a minute to go back through the cave.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, it's not this. I would have to say this isn't a complicated set of seeds. It's a complicated set of flags. The big wrinkle in it is really just, where is the CPU? The Darkness Crystal, there's only a limited amount of spots. It's not going to be on the moon. because you need it there. So that pretty much takes away 18, not 18 spots, about 13 spots. Foo is only going to be in one of 12 locations, and a couple of them are doubled up. So really, CPU is the big where are you? So other than that, not a complicated set of flags. It's a very nice sort of entry into trap chest hunter as well, because you want to go out and search for them. After that, do whatever you want.
Right, exactly. Well, did you have any final thoughts on this seed or flag set in particular?
No, I think I've said everything in that with what I just said. Really, just enjoy the flags. That's what they are. I've always said, Ed, learn the flags. It's part of my entire Sunday Slapdash race myself. Learn the flags, understand the flags, and you get through the seed easier. Once you've done that, the rest is gravy.
Yeah, I'm sure with the Sunday Slapdash, you've gotten really used to understanding flag sets.
Oh, there's some still creep up on you. You can't get away from that. But yeah, just learn your flags, learn where you need to go for them, learn where the best locations are, and you will be fine.
Well, thanks so much, Poydrak, for being restreamed tonight. Thanks, congratulations and GG on your 7th place tonight, 2nd place on stream, and hope you have a wonderful week.
Yeah, have a good one.
Take care.
And that was Poydrak, and now we are joined by PK4787, who came in 8th place while we were interviewing Poydrak. So GG to PK.
I think we might be having a little bit of...
Yeah, I couldn't hear you guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, there we go. Hey, PK.
There
how you doing?
you are.
Hey, it's Nathan Maggie.
So,
Welcome
GG's. Congratulations on your finish here tonight. Bit of a loaded treasure seed there, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were more Zeus gauntlets than I ever had anything to do with. And yeah, no shortage of any of that. It was not the issue.
Edge had enough cutlery to throw at like everything, basically, by the time you were done there.
He did. I reached a point where I realized that it just felt like extra inputting to take the Avenger off Cecil, because, I mean, what's the real difference when he's already got an Adamant on and a Zeus gauntlet?
So, given that part, the character power part, pretty hard. What for you was like the most difficult part of it?
It was definitely not forgetting to do any of the trap chests. I mean, I didn't assume I was gonna win this. I just didn't want to be that guy who missed one of those Sylph trap chests and ended up, clearing literally 99.99% of the seed first.
Well, we got to talk about that because you gave us all a little bit of a heart attack when you started to walk past the chests in Tower of Zot, and everyone said, "Oh no, PK's gonna miss the hook." Was that just messed up movement wise, or were you actually considering skipping the chests? What were you kind of thinking of right there?
No, that was more. I had done so many, and there was just a part of me that was like, all right, here we go. It's just, I'm so not used to running K-Trap that it literally almost slipped my mind. And at the same point, too, I was like, I have Earth, I have Baron. I thought that, when I saw Dia finish, that was probably where they had gone and that the character was somewhere there. But fortunately, And I'm glad people saw that. That would have been. That's exactly what I'm talking about, though. Where you're like, you catch every one, and then the one you miss is going to be the one that has the hook in it.
Well, we're definitely glad you turned around there. Did you have any other thoughts about this seed or flag set in particular?
No, I'm happy I got done in less than 2.5 hours on a K-trap, and just thanks Gambit and Dathis and Maggie and Smape, and I'm glad I'm done with that one.
Well, go get some rest. You earned it.
Hey, you all take care.
Take care, PK. Thanks so much for being restreamed, and congrats on your. All right, and with that, we just have Computer left and is finishing up the moon here. I think what we're going to go ahead and do here for the night, since we're just past the 2-hour mark here, is send a raid over to Computer and cheer them on for the remainder of this race. But Maggie, it was fantastic working with you again. Glad to be back in the commentator's booth with you.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a blast. This was a really, really fun seed to watch and to commentate. Always a pleasure to work with you, Smapety, and also with Gambit and Dathis. Had a really great team tonight. Really great set of runners. So thank you to everybody for volunteering and for putting in time and effort for this, and everybody who came out to watch us. I hope everybody had as much fun as we did tonight with this race.
Absolutely. And of course, we're going to have the salty run back of these flags on Friday for our Friday community. That's going to be over on Random 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you had fun tonight, definitely check us out then. And if you haven't considered running it, maybe join the Discord and ask around. We'd love to have you in here. We've got a fantastic league coming up with the Fabul Gauntlet. We'd love to get as many people in there as possible. It's going to be a ton of fun trying out some things we've never done in a league setting before with Free Enterprise. So now's a great time to join as any.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like we do have all those links set up here in the Discord. So definitely, or in the Twitch chat. So come check us out in Discord if you haven't already. And hopefully we'll see some of you soon, either in our next community race or maybe in that Fabul Gauntlet event that's coming up soon.
Yeah, certainly. We're going to go ahead and kick it over to Computer now. So give him a huge round of applause. Cheer him on as he finishes the seed. But for our restreamer Dathis, our tracker Gambit, and my co-host here, Maggie the Cat, I am Smatey, and thanks so much for watching, everybody.